Let's talk about kerosene pickles. Let's talk about Old Man Rimshaw. Let's talk about Barney's sidecar. It's always fun to hang out with y'all. A loaded goat is causing a stir from the panic he is creating. Come on in, take a seat. It's 2 chairs, no waiting. Sit a spell and tune right in. We are about to start the show. We have a lot to talk about with the folks that we all know. Opie, Andy, and Otis, Barney, and the darlings too. This will be amazing. It's 2 chairs, no waiting.
Episode number 842, The Pickle Story.
It's 2 chairs, no waiting. It's 2 chairs, no waiting. Let's start the show. 2 chairs, no waiting.
All right. Wow. I've got that is our theme song. I said before that it was by Russell Hyatt. It's not. It's by Russell Estes. I want to thank Russell once again for creating that theme song for me. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here with me. I'm Allan Newsome, the host of 2 Chairs, No Waiting. And I got to fix some errors. So that was one of them. I got another one I need to fix. But this week we're going to be talking about The Pickle Story. The Pickle Story episode of the Andy Griffith Show. It's the 43rd episode filmed and the 43rd episode aired. It originally aired on December the 18th. 1961. It was written by writer extraordinary, 31 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. He wrote Harvey Bullock, and director Bob Sweeney directed the episode. You all, if you're an Andy Griffith Show fan, you have to know what the Pickle Story is. I should not even, I don't feel like I even need to try to explain it to you. But I do need to do this. So last week I was talking about the episode The Clubmen. A couple of weeks ago, I was correcting something. So I went over to Mayberry.info, and I went to The Clubmen. And in that, if you go to the Odd Facts Known by Few, I said in that episode originally that all the men that were in the Esquire Club were people named from Andy's time as a teacher. So as a teacher, they were all names for that. That is not correct. Then last week, I tried to fix the error and went too far and said none of them were, but that's not true. Club member Cliff Britton was named after a teacher who taught at the same school Andy Griffith did during his brief stint as a public school teacher. So just so you know that, he did teach at, let's see if I get this right, Goldsboro High School, where Andy was a teacher. You can, if you're watching the video version, you can see him. He's in the bottom left-hand corner of the yearbook pictures. And if we scroll up just a little bit, there is Cliff Britton right there in the second from the right on the top, Cliff Britton. So his name was used as one of the clubmen. And just before anybody says anything, there's a man named Charles Doak, D-O-A-K. I've had people say, oh, that's named after somebody. No, it may be, but you're thinking about from the episode Opie's Job, where Norris Goff, who played Abner on Lum and Abner, was named Mr. Dokes, D-O-A-K-E-S. Now, it is possible that they used that name to be a nod towards Andy's friend from high school, but we don't know because it's spelled different. So just so you know, I was aware of that, but he did, that name, Mr. Dokes, is different than Charles Doak that you can see in Andy's yearbook when he was a teacher at Goldsboro. And by the way, he was a music and drama or dramatics teacher is what he was. So there you go. All right. So that's a correction from 2 weeks ago. And then again, a correction of the correction from last week. I'm trying to get things right. I want to thank Randy Turner for making sure he told me I did it wrong when I corrected last week. So last episode, I did it wrong. He even tried to call before the podcast was over and let me fix it before the podcast was over, but it just didn't work out. So thank you, Randy. I really do appreciate you. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Pickle Story. Now, again, the Pickle Story is, classic episode of the Andy Griffith Show. If you go over to Mayberry.info and then you click on the episode guide and go to season 2, you would be able to pick out the Pickle Story right there from what you would see online. So all you got to do is head over to the Pickle Story and you would see everything there if you were going there. So it would show you that you'd be able to get to all this information we're going to go over about the Pickle Story today. You would be able to find right there on that website. So if you miss something, let me know and we will figure it out. Okay. So things are moving around on my screen. Hold on a minute. I got to fix things. So if you're seeing things on our video, my buttons moved. And so when I clicked things, it messed up. So if you're not watching the video, you don't care. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the Pickle Story. Since we're going to talk about the Pickle Story, we're going to do trivia from the Pickle Story episode. Okay. Now we've been doing this, and the way we've been doing it the last few weeks, we're going to the MeTV website and pulling up the daily Andy Griffith Show quiz and finding the one about this particular episode. Now, this episode is the Pickle Story, as I said. So here we go. We got 10 questions. I'm going to run through them pretty quick, and then we're going to not give you the answers until the end of the podcast. All right. So here we go. Which friend comes to visit Aunt B at the beginning of the story? Which friend comes to visit Aunt B at the beginning of the Pickle Story episode? Was it Emma, Clara, or Bertha? Number 2, how many years does this friend state that she has won the pickle contest? Was it 9, 10, or 11 years? Number 3, there are 10 questions. Aunt B makes how many quarts of pickles at first? Did she make 6, 8, or 10 quarts of pickles? Number 4, tonight, this is a quote, tonight we go into Operation, what's it called? Is it Pickle Switch, Deal Heist, or Gherkin Jerk? Number 5, Barney gives a motorist a jar of pickles as a blank award. Is it Safe Driving Award, a Clean Car Award, or a Fastest Engine Award? Why does he get a jar of pickles? Number 6, where are the past first place ribbons stored? Where are the past first place ribbons stored? All right. Number 7, this is a quote. You got to fill in the blank. You mean you actually want her to make another batch of them blank? Was it putrid pickles, kerosene cucumbers, or fermented failures? Those are good. All right. Who wins? This is number 8. Who wins the pickle contest? Was it Aunt B, the preacher's wife, or was it Miss Johnson? Who wins? All right. Number 9. Where do the judges go after the prize is awarded? They go straight home to bed, to the water fountain to wash their hands, or to the hospital? And number 10, what does Aunt B whip up next? Does she make marmalade? Chutney? I don't even know what that is, so that's not it. Or jam. What is chutney? I should have looked that up. I don't even know that. So you get a 50-50 chance on this one if you don't know the answer. But those are the questions. Those are the questions for our trivia for this week. All right. So we will go back over the trivia later in the episode because I'm bound to give away the answer. So I want to give you the questions up front so that you can just enjoy, playing through all this stuff. So here we go. The pickle story, if you don't remember, it's basically Aunt Bee was making a batch of pickles. They were terrible. And Andy and Opie switched them out and then had to eat them all so that she wouldn't enter the good store-bought pickles into the contest. And basically that's what happened. It's all crazy. You've seen it. You've seen it. All right, so let's go into this. I'm going to play us a little background music. All right, so let's look at some of these episodes and go over them here in the podcast. This episode, it starts off with Aunt Bee in the kitchen working on her pickles. She's there, and who should drop by to see her? What was her name? Did you get it? Was it Clara? Bertha? Which one was it? It was Clara, right? Clara dropped by to see her. All right, so that's one of our trivia questions. So if you didn't get it, there it is now. So Clara dropped by to see her and brought her pickles. And her pickles are really good. They are very good pickles. And Aunt Bee says, well, she said, you should enter your pickles, Bee. Oh, no, because, I've tried 10 years and lost 10 years. And Clara's like, 11. So Clara tries some of Aunt Bee's pickles, and they're nice. I wouldn't change a thing except maybe to boil the vinegar just 2 seconds longer and maybe just a little more. She goes through a whole list of things that she would do different to help Aunt Bee's pickles be better. Now, the thing you didn't see Clara do was spit it out or anything. She did eat it and went right on with it. And, of course, when she walks out the door, Aunt Bee is not happy. She kind of is making faces about Clara. But Clara left her pickles for Opie. So there's a jar of good pickles from Clara that on top of the jars that Aunt Bee is canning for the boys because she just made them for the boys. That's all she cared about. So we join Andy and Barney over at the courthouse. Barney's filing some papers and Andy's working on paperwork himself, and they're singing a song, and Barney is harmonizing with Andy, but it doesn't sound great, and Andy kind of is looking at him like, what are you doing? And then they're interrupted by Aunt Bee coming in, bringing in a basket, and they're excited because she's bringing in lunch, and she's like, he said, I brought you something good. Is it pie? Oh, better than that. Oh, better than pie. Yeah, so basically she pulls out the little saucer covered with a napkin and uncovers it and reveals it's pickles. Some of her homemade pickles. And well, you can see quickly by the look on Andy and Barney's face, oh, Aunt Bee, you go to way yonder too much trouble to try to please us. That's one of my favorite lines. But she's offering them to Andy and Barney. And they're like, well, I'm all full up right now. I just don't really feel like I should eat any right now. So I don't really want, well, just one pickle won't you? Well, that's true. All right. Well, thank you. Yep. That's a pickle. That's what Barney's saying. So they each take a pickle. Aunt Bee hands them to them and they take it. And they just stare at them for a little while. And finally, because Barney was just going to wait and eat his later. Another amazing line in this episode. There are so many funny lines in this particular episode of the Andy Griffith Show. It's just amazing. But they do go ahead and take a bite. So, because, we'll just take a bite. And they do take a bite. And then Barney goes, yeah, boy, that's a pickle. Because he didn't swallow it. He still got it in his mouth. And Andy goes, yeah, boy. Well, Aunt Bee leaves and Barney goes, where do we throw him? So he starts running over to throw him into the garbage can. They said, oh, we can't do that. What if she were to see it? It would break her heart. Or what are we going to do? Well, then Barney notices there's a fly has landed on the pickles. He goes, shoo, fly. The pickles on that plate. And he goes, it's dead. So it was a fly that landed on the pickles and it killed them. So that's how bad these pickles are. That's pretty bad pickles. So as they're standing there talking about how bad they are, just can't understand it. Why does she do this? Because ladies just believe that anything homemade's got to be better than store-bought. And Barney says, store-bought pickles are 10 times better, 100 times better than these. And so Andy says, well, hey, you got an idea there. What if they were good old store-bought pickles? But Barney says, but there ain't. They're bad old homemade pickles. Oh, I love these lines. Oh, my gosh. So Andy develops the plan for them to go and buy 8 quarts, which is how many quarts of pickles she had made, of good old store-bought pickles, and they're going to swap them out tonight in Operation Pickle Switch. That's another trivia question answer. So we go to that evening, and Opie and Andy are in the kitchen, and Barney comes walking in with a suitcase. Well, they've got all the pickles laid out there on the table because Aunt Bee is gone somewhere. I forgot where. But they don't have a lot of time, so they got to switch all these pickles that from Aunt Bee's canning jars into these store-bought pickle jars. And they said, oh, Opie, we don't normally condone doing things like this, but you understand why? He says, yeah, because we don't want to hurt Aunt Bee's feelings, and you don't want me to get sick again. Oh, I just love these lines. And so they begin to open up the pickles and dump them into a pot, and eventually they get them all switched out, and they're excited about it. And all the bad old pickles are now in Barney's suitcase, and he's gonna sneak out of there. Opie's gonna head on up to bed, and Andy said, oh, no, don't go out through the front. Let's go out through the back. She might be coming home. Well, they open the back door, and Aunt Bee comes in because she had to go to the back to get some laundry that she had left hanging out in her laundry basket. And so she comes walking in, and she goes, oh, hey, Barney, you going somewhere? And he goes, what? What do you mean? Well, you have a suitcase. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, a suitcase. Well, yeah, I'm going to go see my cousin. I'm going to see my cousin. Oh, that's nice. Aunt Bee is paying no attention to what Barney's doing, but Barney is so guilty. And he's all right, Barney, you need to get going. Well, yeah, you don't know him, and he don't have a phone, so, you don't have to call him or anything. Yeah, and so you're going to see your cousin? Yeah, he'll be Pickle Tink to see me. Anyway, he continues to explain to Aunt Bee why he's got to go. So he starts to leave, and as he does, he picks up the suitcase and kind of lowers it into his arm. And when he does, all those jars jingle. Aunt Bee turns and looks, and Andy's got this look on his face of like, oh no. And Barney goes, shaving lotion. It's shaving lotion. Yeah. I shave a lot when I travel, so I got to carry shaving lotion because everybody shaves. Well, men, and I'm a man. So Aunt Bee still doesn't care. She is not caught on that anything's going on, but Barney is so guilty. He keeps explaining to her why he's got all these jars in this, or why it jingles when he walked. And Aunt Bee, well, have a good trip, Barney. And then Barney, when Aunt Bee leaves the room, he literally tries to follow her into the living room, and Andy has to grab him and say, Barney, go, get out of here. Yeah, and he goes, all right, Aunt Bee, I'm leaving now. And Andy's trying to make him leave, so he slams the door on Barney's arm with the suitcase still sticking into the kitchen. Oh, he has to open the door back up so Barney can get his arm out, and then Barney leaves, and Andy closes the door. Well, the next scene is the next morning. You see Barney stopping cars out on the road and telling them, you were driving so good. I just wanted to let you know you're handling your car so well. You get a safe driving award. And he asked the guy where he's headed. He was headed to Oregon. So Barney gives him a jar of pickles and tells him to drive safely, and he leaves. And then it cuts back to that evening. I assume it's that evening. At the Taylor house, Barney's eating with Andy, Opie, and Aunt Bee. And Aunt Bee goes, oh, Barney, how was your trip? My trip? What trip? Oh, that trip. Yeah, that trip. And this is when he actually says, they were pickled tink to see me. But then Andy grabs the pickle and says, oh, here, Barney, have a pickle. Speaking of pickles, have a pickle. And so everybody takes a pickle, including Aunt Bee, and she eats it. She says, oh, my goodness, these are good. And she said, I thought I wouldn't enter the county fair pickle contest, but these are so good. I think I've hit on the right recipe. So I think I'll enter these. And Opie's got this wide-eyed look on his face. Yeah, I think I'll enter these pickles in the county fair. And Opie goes, these? Then they all go, these? Everyone, Andy and Aunt Bee goes, these. And so then it cuts to the next day, and they're kind of laughing about a rigged pickle contest and how it'd be funny if Aunt Bee finally won, and how, it don't mean that much. It's just a pickles. And they're laughing about that when Clara walks into the courthouse. When Clara walks in, she has a prize for them, which is a jar of pickles. Well, of course, Andy takes the jar in his hand, and he tries to hand it over to Barney, but Barney pushes it away. And Clara opens it up and says, well, try a pickle for me. She said, well, yeah. Andy's like, we will try just one pickle. We'll try one. And Barney said, oh, no, I'm all full up. I got to get on patrol. You just have a pickle. I'll see you when I get back. And he leaves. So that leaves Andy and Clara. So he does take the pickle, but he's expecting it to be like Aunt Bee's pickles. And when it isn't, he goes, oh, my, these are good. And Clara then begins to tell about how her husband loved these pickles and had told her that even if he got to the other side when he passed away, because he has passed away, that when he got to heaven, that I bet they couldn't make a pickle that compares to yours, is what he had always told her. And so then she even brings out her scrapbook that has all of her blue ribbons and everything in it. And Andy, listening to her talk about how much this means to her, he starts to realize, oh, we have got a problem. So when Barney comes back, he explains it to him. It'd break if she won, if Aunt Bee won over Clara. It means too much for her. He said, well, it's just kind of a joke, Andy. He said, not to her. We're going to have to do something. So what we're going to have to do is get Aunt Bee to make another batch of those pickles. And Barney said, do you really want her to make another batch of those kerosene cucumbers? There's another trivia question for you. And Andy says, well, I think we have to. And Barney says, all right, but my heart's not in it. And he says, it's not so much your heart, it's your stomach. So they begin to eat over the next days. I don't know how long it was, but Andy, Opie, and Barney consume 8 quarts of those kerosene pickles. Well, they're not kerosene in this case. They're actually store-bought pickles. And so it finally cuts to Andy and Barney in the courthouse, and Aunt Bee walks in carrying a basket. And she goes, oh, hello. And Barney's like, oh, no, more pickles, because he doesn't want to eat more pickles. And she says, a strange thing happened. I reached up into the cabinet, and all the pickles are gone. Y'all have gone through every one of them. Andy's like, oh, that's terrible. We're gluttons. And Aunt Bee says, well, I was going to enter those. I already told everybody. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe I could make some more. And Andy goes, that's a great idea, Aunt Bee. She says, what is? If you make another batch of those pickles. So she is basically convinced it was her idea to really make those pickles. So she runs out of the courthouse. And then we see it cut to the county fair, where there's all kinds of stuff going on there at the county fair. And they go inside one of the tents where the judges are judging the pickles. And Aunt Bee's not there yet, but Clara's already there, and Andy and Barney are already there. So, and then they're trying all the pickles, and they try the preacher's wife's pickles, and right about then is when Aunt Bee comes in and says, well, they're just to the preacher's wife's. And then they get to Aunt Bee's pickles when she is sitting there. So they pick them up, they smell them, and they taste them. And you can see the judge's eyes kind of roll and say, well, what do you think? Kerosene? Precisely. I think that's what he said. So then they give the first place ribbon to Clara. She was jar number 4, if you're wondering. But Clara wins her 12th blue ribbon for her pickles. And they're so excited. Clara wants to go and thank the judges. Did you see where they went? And Barney says, oh, they're over there by the water fountain washing their hands. That was another of our trivia questions. So Aunt Bee and Opie leave, and he says, well, I guess we need to do what we should have done anyway. And he goes, what do you mean? He said, learn to love them. So Andy and Barney each get a pickle, and they start to eat them. Well, the epilogue is Andy is sitting in the kitchen of the Taylor home, and Barney comes in. And Andy says, I'm running a little late. Sit down here and have some toast. And Barney says, I think I will. So he starts to put the stuff on his toast right there, is the jam or whatever he was going to put on there. You didn't know what it was at the moment, but he starts spreading it on there, and Andy and him both start going, you smell something? Barney says, you been painting in here? No, Andy says, no. I guess it's just some of that glue that Opie's using for one of his models, maybe. Then Andy goes, you don't think that gas stove is leaking, do you? Barney says, I don't know. It don't smell like gas. It smells like ammonia or something. So he's continuing to put that stuff on his toast, and he lifts the bread with the jam like stuff on up to his face, and he goes, oh, I found it. I found it. They start smelling of this container that has this marmalade, is what it turns out to be. And Barney goes, oh, don't tell me Aunt Bee's making marmalade now. So they start looking up, and there's all kinds of cans of marmalade there in the cabinets. And Andy says, well, don't just stand there. Go get the suitcase. And it basically ends with Barney leaving and heading out to get the suitcase. So there you go. That is this episode. I feel like I talked more about this episode because I remember it so much. It's just got so many amazing, wonderful lines in it that I just love it. So, all right. So let's do some odd facts known by a few about this particular episode. This episode has been voted several times, by the way, as the favorite episode of the entire series in several different polls. Fan clubs and rerun watchers clubs have consistently placed this particular episode in the top 10 of all the Andy Griffith Show episodes. Just so you know as well, odd fact known by few is that it says it takes 2 to 3 months for pickles to set in the jar before they're ready to eat. So this was a very condensed episode of how long it took her to make the pickles, because you need to can them and they sit in there and they absorb all the flavor. And there probably wasn't time for her to have done all this stuff, but because it was just weeks away. Anyway, just so you know that. Don Knott stated several times that the Pickle Story was his favorite episode of the Andy Griffith Show. And this is an interesting odd fact that I had never really thought about. There's a few of these, by the way. Based on the show's air date in 1961, as I mentioned, that was the year it was aired. Wait, was that the right year? Let me make sure I'm getting that year right. I was thinking, 1961, December of 1961. Clara would have won her first pickle competition in 1949. Just as a note. That's a little odd fact for you. So if you're ever in a trivia contest, that would be fair game, math included. Okay. All right. Barney tells Andy when he talks about Aunt Bee's pickles, you can't get those back for him, can you? He mentions that they were scattered from Oregon to Nova Scotia. So there's a little trivia. All right. So this is the other thing that I had never realized. Since this is season 2, right? This is season 2, episode number 11 of the Andy Griffith Show. Well, Aunt Bee only moved back to Mayberry last year. So a year ago in season 1, right? She'd been out of town. She had helped raise Andy, but she didn't live in Mayberry. So this episode would imply that maybe Aunt Bee, maybe she lived in Mayberry County somewhere, just not in the city of Mayberry, because the county fair is Mayberry County, and the Mayberry city of Mayberry in the county of Mayberry. So maybe she lived in the area, but not with Andy and Opie. Maybe that's the case. But if that's the case, that she lived somewhere else, this implies that she would have been driving annually to the Mayberry County Fair to enter her pickles, and she had lost to Clara for 11 years in a row before this. Well, 10 years in a row, because I guess last year she could have done it. In season 1, she could have entered them. So at least for 10 years, she had been driving and entering her pickles in the county fair there in Mayberry and didn't live in the city of Mayberry. Maybe she lived in the county. I don't know. Somebody with more knowledge than me can maybe pull that information out. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So Aunt Bee's jar of pickles that she had, that the judges were doing when they were judging her pickles, we see that her jar is jar number 11. So if you didn't know that, jar number 11 was hers. And as I mentioned, Clara's was jar number 4. Number 4 was Clara's because she got first place, and they were putting the first place ribbon on jar number 4. Ron Howard admitted and has talked about it more than one time. He didn't like pickles. He didn't like pickles. So if you actually watch the episode, you never really see him eat more than just like maybe the skin off of a pickle. He never actually bites it. There is one scene in the show where he sticks it into his mouth, but you don't see him bite it. So Ron didn't like pickles. So just so you know that. I guess maybe he still doesn't, but he said he never liked pickles. In this and earlier episodes, Clara's last name is Johnson. So he called Clara Mrs. Johnson in this episode. Her husband had passed away, but she was Mrs. Johnson. In later seasons and in other episodes, her last name is Edwards, Clara Edwards. And at times, Aunt Bee had called her Bertha. So my theory is her married name is Clara Johnson. Her maiden name was Edwards, maybe, don't know. And Bertha was Aunt Bee's nickname for her. That was a nickname, that they knew each other because they'd known each other a long time. So that's my theory. That doesn't hold up really well because I think I can't remember if Clara Edwards ever mentions her son's last name. So if she said it was Edwards, then that doesn't work because he's not mentioned until later in the series. So he would have to be a Johnson in that case because Mr. Johnson is who passed away and loved her pickles. The two pickle judges in this particular episode, they looked familiar to you, it's because they appear in later episodes of the Andy Griffith Show as the banker, Mr. Meldrum, and a jeweler named Ray Watson. They're in episodes later in the series, or in other episodes of the series, maybe not even later. We've seen them before, I believe. All right, so in every other, this is a kind of a odd fact known by a few, but I think we all know this. In every other episode throughout the whole series and in Mayberry RFD, Aunt Bee's regarded as being an excellent cook. She can cook amazing. And matter of fact, in season 8, the story of the Mayberry Chef, Aunt Bee is asked to host a televised cooking program based on her well-known talent. She doesn't even have to audition or anything. In this episode, The Pickle Story, Aunt Bee oddly never even tastes her own homemade pickles. She didn't even taste them until they were sitting at the table and they'd already switched them. She didn't even taste them. It's just really hard for me to believe that she never tasted them. And so she never realized her recipe had a lot of faults. You'd think, anyway, you have to suspend belief here, suspend belief to be able to enjoy this episode. It is an amazing, funny episode. There's a lot of things that are kind of inconsistent in it, but it is an amazing and funny episode of the Andy Griffith Show. After Andy, Barney, and Opie swap Aunt Bee's bad homemade pickles, Barney meets the guy out on the road to get rid of them so that they can get them out of town, right? So when he's doing that, they had already taken from the canning jars emptied all the canning jars and put the good store-bought pickles in the canning jars and put those canning jars back in the cabinets. So Aunt Bee's bad pickles would have been in store-bought pickle jars. When he actually hands the Safe Driving Award to the guy, it's actually a canning jar and not the store-bought pickles jar. So just a little thing to note if you have never noticed that. He should have been handling the store-bought jars, not the canned jars. All right, so that's basically, I think, everything I got, because there is one that was reported that I do not believe is correct, but we're looking. It actually said when the judges were evaluating the pickles, they're standing at a table before a background of shelves filled with other, canned items. So we see them. There's canned items behind them. That is 100% true. That is 100% true. But after the first prize is announced, the shelves are full of cakes. That's not right. So if you ever hear anybody tell you that, the cakes and things are over where Andy was sitting. Andy and Opie and Aunt Bee. That's on the other wall. So if you were standing where the judges were, it would be on the right side of the wall. It's where Clara is standing there talking to Aunt Bee. There are cakes and stuff back there, but that is not an error. So if you ever see that odd fact, it's incorrect. Okay, so don't be fooled. Don't be fooled if you get bad information from some podcaster. But if you don't believe me, you can look at the pictures I'm showing on the video version, where you can see that they're looking a different direction because all the chairs are facing where the judges were, and they're to the left of those chairs, where the cakes and stuff were. So there you go. All right. So how did you do on that? Those are kind of interesting, I thought. I hope you enjoyed that. So let's head back over now to our trivia and see how we do on the trivia. All right. So here we go. The question number 1. Which friend comes to visit Aunt Bee at the beginning of the story? Well, we know it was Bertha or Clara. It wasn't Emma. We know that. So it was Clara that did it. If you got that right, you're among 94% of the people who took this quiz. All right. How many years does this friend state she won a pickle contest? So Clara, how many years did she say she had won? 11. We already talked about that. 11. So 63% of the people got that one right. Are you one of them? Did you get it? Aunt Bee makes how many quarts of pickles at first? Was it 6, 8, or 10? The answer is 8. Now, this is another thing. Some of you ladies or gentlemen that do this, this was another odd fact that I looked up, but I didn't try to confirm. So maybe you can let me know. You can email me at floyd@Mayberry.com and let me know. But they said this would have been incorrect. The jars, the thing you put the jars in, the thing that you boil the water and put jars in so that they seal, will only hold 7 quarts of pickles. So there should have only been 7. A batch would be 7, not 8. So if that is true, that's another odd fact I need to add to the show notes. But let me know if that is true, because I don't know the answer to that. But it's definitely 8 is the answer from the show. But odd fact, a batch of pickles would only be 7 jars of pickles. That's what I understood. And a fun fact by one of our folks is there are 7 Vienna sausages in a can. That's a random fact, but thank you very much for that one. Plain darn good in our chat room. If you'd like to join us in our chat rooms, they are there with me on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time to just enjoy each other's company and have fun. All right, we're to question number 4. Tonight, oh, by the way, the chat room would be found at live.twochairsnowaiting.com. You can go check it out. Tonight, we go into Operation, I thought these were Jerk and Jerk, Dill Heist, or Pickle Switch. I like all of those, but the answer is Pickle Switch, and 95% of people got these correct. So there you go. Barney gives a motorist a jar of pickles as a blank award. Now, they list him as safe driver, clean car or fastest engine. And it's not safe driving award is what I believe Barney actually says. So it's safe driver. And 98% of the people got that right. So hopefully you got it right too. Number 6, where are the past first place ribbons stored? Well, we saw Clara come in and get them out of and show from her scrapbook. It was in her scrapbook, right? 82.5% of people got scrapbook. Number 7, you mean you actually wanted to make another batch of them putrid pickles? I like that one. Fermented failures or kerosene cucumbers? The answer is kerosene cucumbers, but though I do like those other two, 94% of the people got that one correct. Who wins the pickle contest? Was it Aunt B, the preacher's wife, or Mrs. Johnson? It was Mrs. Johnson. So 87.6% got that one right. So there you go. Number 9, we got 2 more here. Where do the judges go after the prize is awarded? They go straight home to bed. They might have done that too. They went over to the water fountain to wash their hands, or to the hospital. Well, they went to the water fountains. They went over to the water fountains to wash their hands. And number 10, what does Aunt B whip up next? I don't know what this is. I'm going to have to look this up. Chutney, Chutney, marmalade or jam? So the answer is marmalade. 57.6% got that one right. How did you do? So I'm going to have to go and look this up now to find out what this is, because I don't know what that is. I'm sure some of you are much smarter than me and have a much bigger education. But chutney is a condiment that spread made from chopped fruit cooked with vinegar, spices, and sometimes sugar. Okay, so that's what it is. We learned something. People in the chat room knew. Miss Peggy knew. Miss Peggy in our chat room, she knew. Folks, so that is, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed all these answers we were able to give you. You'll be able to find all this information if you head over to Mayberry.info, and you can go to this Pickle Story and get the information there. So, folks, hey, while you're out wandering around, drop by over at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. They're our sponsor, and make bells ring, evidently. I don't even know where that came from. They're our sponsor for the podcast. So while you're there, you might want to check out the Cruise to Mayberry. They got a light blue shirt and a pinkish shirt that's Cruise to Mayberry. It's a really cool looking shirt with a squad car ship. It's a ship that looks like a Mayberry squad car. If you're going on the cruise, or if you're just enjoy cruises, or you just think this is a cool shirt, check it out over there. There's a brand new version of the Mayberry Sheriff's Office. We had a t-shirt over at Weavers. It was called Mayberry Police Department. It always bothered me, but a lot of people liked it. So now we have one that's actually the Mayberry Sheriff's Office. So you can pick that up. It's got the emblem from the door of the squad car. Really nice looking shirt. I do believe myself. And then I'm kind of partial to this. Weavers has the 2 chairs, no waiting enamel camp mug. That's right. It's made out of, it's metal, the can, and it's got the 2 chairs, no waiting logo wrapped around the mug. So I kind of like that because, this is 2 chairs, no waiting. So I'm specializing on that. So thank you. Head over to Weaver's Department Store and check it out. Folks, thanks so much for being here with me. I hope you have enjoyed the podcast as much as I have enjoyed visiting and talking with you. Next week, we got some more trivia. Paul Mulick sent me some trivia this week that I didn't get it ready to go. So we'll be playing some of that next week, along with the trivia that goes with the episode that we go over, if that's what I end up doing next week. Folks, I thank you so much for being here with me. I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com, or you can drop by 2chairsnowaiting.com, and all that information is there. I would love to hear from you. And if you know about canning pickles, let me know if a batch is usually just 7. Maybe people have bigger pots that they put them in. I don't know what those are called, the thing that you put it in. So let me know. Educate me. I mean, I know I could look it up on Google or something, but who trusts that? Folks, thanks for being here, and we will see you next time right here on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.